So in this video, we're going to talk about matrix operations with traces and transposes. So I'm just going to show you the two examples that I'm going to go through. So I have this set of matrices, and so I'm going to compute these two different operations. So you'll notice that this one they both have transposes in them, and then this one's asking me to compute the trace. Okay, so you can pause if you want to read these over. I'm just going to jump right into these. So let's start with, this is B transpose times C. Okay, so here is my matrix B, and first I just want to write out what is it to be the transpose. So the transpose means that I take each row and I turn it into a column. So now this row of 2, 1 becomes the column 2, 1. So here would be my new matrix B, B transpose, and then I'm going to multiply all of that times C. Okay, so now that I know what I'm multiplying together, I'm going to make myself a little space. And now we can go ahead and multiply. So I'm going to take this row times this column. So let's see, what's that going to be? That's going to be 6 plus 2. This row times this column. So that's going to be 2 minus 1. And then 4 plus 0. So again, taking this row times this column. So now I take this row times this column. So that's going to be 3 minus 2. And then we'll have 1 plus 1 and 2 plus 0. So there is all of my work. And so now if I add everything together, this becomes 8, 1, 4, 1, 2, and 2. So really the only thing that was different is just you have to write out what is the transpose before you can really do this problem. So next, let's talk about this little problem here. So I have to find the trace of this whole operation. So I think, again, it's really helpful to actually write out what this means. So I'm going to take 3 times the trace of B. So I'm actually just going to write 3, and I'm just going to write what the trace is before I go too far with this. So the thing about matrices is that even though this is like a simple operation to multiply everything by 3, this is like one of those cases where I think you need to slow your brain down and actually force yourself to write everything out. Because I know for me, I'm very prone to making mistakes if I go too fast, even though the math is simple. So like part of the challenge with this is actually slowing your brain down. Okay, so there's my A, and then I'll just write out what my D is, 0, 1, 2, negative 1. Okay. So I've got all the pieces here. I've written out my transpose. Ultimately, I need to calculate the trace, but here's all the work I need to do before I do anything else. So let's make some space. Okay, and now let's do it. So let's see. This first matrix will now become 6, negative 3, 3, and 3. Sorry. So there's 3 times this whole matrix. And now let's work through this one. So I'll just put all the pieces together. So I'm going to take this row times this column. So let's see, that's going to become 1 plus 0 plus 6. Let me double check my work. Yep. This row times this column. So let's see, that will be 0 plus 2 minus 3. Then I'm going to have this row times this column. So let's see, that will be negative 1 plus 0 plus 2, and then finally it looks like I'll have 0 plus 0 minus 1. Okay, so let's write all of this out. So let's see, this is going to be 6, negative 3, 3 and 3, and then I'm going to add, so this is 7, negative 1, 1, and negative 1. So if I add those matrices together, so now I'm just going to go element by element. So 6 plus 7 is 13, negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4, 3 plus 1 is 4, and 3 minus 1 is 2. Okay, so here's the matrix now, and so now let me make myself some space. So I just wrote out what we're trying to do with this. Remember, we're trying to calculate the trace. So the trace is really found by adding the elements on the main diagonal. So those elements there, so that's just going to become 13 plus 2. And so then my trace is going to equal 15. So that would be the final answer in that case. Okay, so that is the idea. So if you found that video helpful, I'd love it if you hit that like button. Also, I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel, and otherwise I will talk to you guys in another video. Bye!